The Nebraska Huskers are bringing in 5 different 4-star guys, including a fella in Lamar Jackson who just committed 1 day ago. 24 hours ago was when he signed on, or at least verbally agreed to join the class. He signed on today. You see there's an offensive lineman, a quarterback, and a safety as well. And it's a deep class that spans 14 different states. And Mike Riley's entering his 2nd year as the head coach of the Huskers. He joins us now from Lincoln. Let me start with the offensive lineman. What jumps out to you about the guys you're bringing in?
Well, I think probably, first of all, we needed to go there. You know, we graduated 3 starters in the offensive line, and we're looking for the right numbers total on our team. So I think that the best thing about them, we obviously think these guys can play. And it's a pretty versatile group. You know, there's going to be some guards and some tackle types that are in that group, and I think they'll be great additions to exactly what we need to continue to build that part of our team.
A lot of top programs wanted Patrick O'Brien to be their quarterback. How come?
Well, you know, I think probably when you look at it, production is the #1 reason. This guy had an unbelievable senior year, and he was a little bit under the radar maybe before. Relatively new high school, Southern California, but a high school that through his play and the coaching they got out there kind of built up into a team that was in the playoffs. So he gained more notoriety as he went on in school, but had a great senior year, and I think more and more people started to take notice through his senior year. I'm just glad we got on him a little bit earlier.
On my count, 14 different states represented in your recruiting class. What's your balance on trying to be a national brand versus trying to get guys in your footprint?
I think that the way we look at it, we're looking at our footprint, and I think we were getting close to the 50% mark of guys that were kind of in this radius that we look at around Nebraska, and that's a good thing. But also when we looked historically, Nebraska has had guys from everywhere, from coast to coast, and so you know we've got either our connections or found the right guy, the right fit for the program, the right person for the program. And you know, it might be in California, it might be in Florida, but we have to be pretty versatile that way, and historically that's proven to be pretty good here.
You know, we were just talking with everybody here about how recruiting has kind of changed. In a way, the announcements of where you're going has changed. You got a guy yesterday in Lamar Jackson, and he released a video which was entitled "The Commitment Decision Nightmare." It was slickly produced. He basically ran through the streets, and people wearing different programs he was considering were chasing him either on foot or on a hoverboard, and eventually it ends with him reaching over and grabbing a Nebraska hat and putting it on. What was your reaction when you saw that?
I loved it, you know, and I listened to you guys talk about the different things going on these days with all the videos and the social media stuff, and I think it was actually a lot of fun. You know, Lamar did a great job with that, and I think it's probably for them a lot of fun. You know, this is a long process. Lots of people come into play regarding a young man's decision. So many different ways I think that they get to it, but in the end, you know, it's important to them, and they spend time with it, and they obviously put some thought in it, and it was a lot of fun to watch.
Let me ask you about a couple of guys who are interesting but are listed as athletes. Spielman and Jojo Dolman. What position do you think those guys end up playing for you?
Well, you know, we really like these guys because of their versatility. You know, when you watch their video from high school, you know, they're good defensive players, they're good offensive players, they're good football players, and we kind of list them at that because, you know, in talking to them even, you know, we're not really sure where they're going to fit. We know they're going to be good players for us. So with Jojo, it's going to probably be now in the secondary. You know, he fits very well into what we look at safety. He could also kind of morph into that position in sub-defenses as a nickel back and be versatile enough to do that. And then a guy like JD, you know, his defensive film was oftentimes as impressive as his offensive film. But as we look at it in the future, we also see him as as the kind of guy we want in our offense, the guy that can run the screens, run the reverses, run our fly sweep game, and then threaten people down the field. So his versatility at receiver, I think, will be very good for us.
Before we let you go, Mike, I have to tell you, you recruited my #1 absolute favorite name in the Big Ten, Dicaprio Boodle.
Good. I'm glad you like that. He is a great young man. His family lives down in Florida. They came from the Bahamas originally. Had a tremendous home visit with them. This guy he's very fast. We saw him. We had him in camp, and then we went through the recruiting process with him. We're proud to have him coming. He'll add to our team.
Well, tell him I like his name. Mike Riley, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.